General Tarak walked into the Imperial War Room with heavy steps. His scales were dull from exhaustion, and his eyes carried the weight of what he had seen. Around the massive stone table sat the most powerful beings in the Vorian Empire. Emperor Vexus lounged on his throne at the head, young and eager for glory. Admiral Krell sat to his right, already smiling at the thought of another easy conquest. The hologram in the center showed a small blue planet. Earth, the humans called it. Third rock from an unremarkable yellow star. "Your report, General," Emperor Vexus said, waving one clawed hand dismissively. Tarak took a deep breath. "My Emperor, I recommend we avoid this system entirely. Mark it as forbidden territory. Do not engage these creatures." The room fell silent. Then Admiral Krell started laughing. Others joined him. "Forbidden?" Krell said between laughs. "General, you have conquered 30 worlds. Are you afraid of this tiny planet?" "Yes," Tarak said simply. The laughter stopped. Emperor Vexus leaned forward. "Explain." Tarak activated his data pad. Images filled the hologram. Soft creatures with no armor, no claws, no natural weapons. They walked on 2 legs. Their skin tore easily. They looked weak. "These are humans," Tarak said. "I spent 3 months observing them. What you see is not what they are." He showed footage of a human female named Hana. She ran for over 40 kilometers without stopping. "She did this for fun," Tarak said. "They call it a hobby." Next came images of a male named Jinho lifting massive metal bars loaded with weights. His muscles strained, but he smiled. "This one lifts objects 3 times his body weight. To relax after work." Admiral Krell snorted. "Primitives building strength. So what?" "Their planet is a death world," Tarak continued. "The gravity would crush most of our soldiers within hours. The atmosphere is 21% oxygen. Corrosive, deadly. Their star bombards them with radiation. Yet they thrive. They run marathons in this environment. They climb mountains. For recreation." He pulled up more files. "They consume poisons for pleasure. Alcohol that would shut down our organs. Plants with capsaicin that trigger pain receptors. They laugh while eating it. They invented hundreds of ways to kill each other, then turned those methods into sports." The Emperor's advisor, an old Vorian named Sek, spoke up. "All species have warriors, General." "No," Tarak said firmly. "You do not understand. I accessed their historical databases. They have been at war with themselves for their entire recorded history. 10,000 years of constant conflict. They survived ice ages that killed most life on their planet. They survived plagues. They nearly destroyed themselves with atomic weapons and decided to build more." He showed images of human history, cities burning, battles spanning continents, weapons of terrible power. "They are persistence predators," Tarak said quietly. "In their ancient past, they hunted prey not by being faster or stronger, but by never stopping. They would chase an animal for days until it collapsed from exhaustion. Then they would kill it. This is what they are. This is what they do. They never stop." Emperor Vexus studied the images. "They barely have space travel, a few stations, some moon colonies. They are decades behind us. They split the atom 80 years after inventing powered flight," Tarak countered. "They went from horse-drawn carriages to landing on their moon in 1 century. They are accelerating, and their entire culture celebrates one thing above all else: never surrendering." He played an audio clip, a human voice speaking in their language, translated. "We shall fight on the beaches. We shall fight on the landing grounds. We shall fight in the fields and in the streets. We shall never surrender." One of their leaders said this while his nation was losing a war, Tarak explained. "They worship this attitude. They teach it to their children. They make movies about it. Never give up. Never surrender. Fight until you die." In the corner of the room, Commander Yuna sat silently. She was human. A prisoner taken in a small border skirmish months ago. She had been brought to this meeting as a curiosity. Now she smiled. Admiral Krell noticed. Something amusing, prisoner? You should listen to him, Yuna said softly. The general is trying to save your lives. Silence, Krell snapped. He turned to the Emperor. My lord, I volunteer to lead the invasion fleet. Give me 500 ships. I will have this planet under control in a month. Tarek tried again. Emperor Vexus, I have served you faithfully. I have brought you 30 worlds. Trust me now. These beings are different. I watched a female called Hana run 42 kilometers. Do you know what she did afterward? She smiled and said she would run farther next week. I watched children fight each other in organized combat for sport. Teenagers, they call them. Not even adults yet, and they train for war as recreation. They sound entertaining, the Emperor said. They will make interesting subjects once we conquer them. You will not conquer them, Tarek said. The room went quiet again. Speaking so directly to the Emperor was dangerous. You will fight them. They will bleed you, and they will never stop. Even if you destroy their planet, survivors will hunt you. Their children will hunt you. Their children's children will hunt you. This is what persistence predators do. Emperor Vexus stood. General Tarek, your caution has served the Empire well. But we are the Vorian Empire. We have conquered 47 star systems. This will be 48. He looked at Admiral Krell. Begin preparations. The invasion launches in 3 cycles. The meeting ended. As everyone filed out, Tarek approached Yuna. Tell me I am wrong, he said quietly. Tell me your people will see our fleet and surrender. Yuna looked at him with kind eyes. General, you seem like a good person. You tried to warn them. I appreciate that. She paused. We have a saying on Earth. Don't mistake kindness for weakness. You could have been our friends. You had your chance. And now? Tarek asked. Now you will learn what humans do when someone threatens our home, Yuna said. I almost feel sorry for your people. Almost. Tarek felt cold despite the warm room. He had conquered 30 worlds. He knew warriors when he saw them, and he knew with absolute certainty that the Emperor had just made the worst decision in Vorian history. The invasion fleet would launch in 3 cycles. Tarek could only hope he was wrong about the humans. But deep down, he knew he was not. 3 months passed. The Vorian invasion fleet arrived at the edge of the Sol system like a dark cloud. 500 warships, each one capable of destroying cities. Admiral Krell stood on the bridge of his flagship, feeling victorious already. Send the surrender demand, he ordered. The message broadcast across all frequencies. Surrender or be destroyed. Standard procedure. Most species gave up immediately when they saw the fleet. The response came quickly, but not from Earth's government buildings. It came from a small ship floating alone in the darkness. This is Captain Minho of the Earth Defense Force ship Indomitable. You have entered our home without permission. Leave now. Admiral Krell stared at the screen. 1 ship. 1 tiny human ship against 500 Vorian warships. He laughed. Destroy it, he ordered. What happened next would be taught in military academies for generations. The Indomitable did not run. It charged straight at the Vorian fleet. On the bridge, Captain Minho gripped his command chair as his ship accelerated. His crew worked with practiced efficiency, despite the crushing forces. 12G turn, Minho ordered calmly. The ship twisted in a way that should have been impossible. Inside, the human crew grunted against the pressure but stayed conscious. Their hearts pumped harder, their bodies adapted. Evolution had made them survivors. Vorian ships tried to track the Indomitable, but it moved too unpredictably. It wove between them like a dancer. Then its weapons fired. Humans used kinetic weapons. Simple, primitive, chunks of metal accelerated to incredible speeds. No fancy energy shields could stop solid matter moving at relativistic velocity. The tungsten rods punched through Vorian armor like paper. 3 Vorian ships exploded in the first 30 seconds. "Impossible!" Admiral Krell shouted. On the Indomitable, Sergeant Tejo prepared his Marines. They wore armored suits and carried enough weapons for a small army. As their ship closed with a Vorian destroyer, Tejo grinned. "Boarding action," he said. "Just like training." The Marines launched from the airlock using nothing but magnetic boots and small thrusters. They flew through the vacuum of space toward the enemy ship. Vorian sensors detected them too late. Tejo placed shaped charges on the destroyer's hull. The explosion created a breach. His Marines poured inside, fighting in zero gravity with ease. Humans had been training for space combat for a century. The Vorians had never faced boarding actions before. The destroyer's crew panicked. Vorian soldiers could not fight in vacuum without bulky suits. Humans moved through it like fish in water. Within 10 minutes, Tejo's squad had captured the bridge. Back on the Indomitable, Captain Minho watched his tactical display. His ship had taken heavy damage. Shields were failing. Hull breaches on 3 decks. But they had destroyed 6 Vorian ships and captured 1. "Not bad for our first real battle," Minho said. His communications officer, Aaron, looked up with worry. "Captain, their entire fleet is targeting us." Minho nodded. He had known this moment would come. "Evacuate all crew to escape pods. Everyone except essential bridge personnel." "Sir," Aaron said. "That is an order," Minho said firmly but kindly. "Tell them it has been an honor." As his crew evacuated, Minho programmed the ship's final course. The Vorian flagship sat in the center of the enemy formation. Its engines glowed bright. "This is Captain Minho," he broadcast on all channels. "First blood goes to Earth. See you in hell, Admiral." The Indomitable's engines fired at maximum burn. The ship accelerated toward the flagship like a missile. Admiral Krell watched in horror as the human ship refused to die, refused to surrender, and refused to run. It simply attacked. The collision was catastrophic. The Indomitable struck the flagship's engine section at full speed. The explosion consumed both ships and damaged 2 more nearby. Captain Minho died instantly, taking hundreds of Vorians with him. Admiral Krell survived barely. His new flagship was a heavy cruiser now. He stared at the debris field in shock. "One ship," he whispered. "One ship did this." Then the asteroid belt came alive. Hundreds of rocks that Krell had ignored as natural objects suddenly activated engines. Suji, a brilliant human scientist, had spent 10 years preparing this trap. Each asteroid had been hollowed out and equipped with thrusters. Each one had a crew. Each one was a kinetic weapon weighing millions of tons. "Welcome to our solar system," Suji broadcast from Ceres Station. "We have had 200 years to prepare it for visitors." The asteroids began moving, not fast, but with terrible purpose. Vorian ships tried to destroy them, but there were too many, and each asteroid that was hit simply broke into smaller pieces that kept coming. The battle turned into chaos. Vorian ships scattered, trying to avoid the massive rocks. Some succeeded. Many did not. The sound of metal crashing into metal echoed through the void as asteroid after asteroid found its target. Admiral Krell ordered a fighting retreat toward Mars. His fleet was in disarray. He had lost 30 ships already. 30 ships. The humans were primitives. This was not supposed to happen. On Mars, human colonists watched the battle through telescopes. They knew the Vorians would come next. Commander Sung-ho gathered his people in the underground tunnels. "They will land here," he said. "They will think they have won. Let them think that." A young woman named Minji raised her hand. She was only 19 years old, an engineering student. "Commander, I can reprogram the mining drones. Turn them into weapons." Sung-ho smiled. "Do it." Across the solar system, humanity mobilized. Every colony, every station, every ship. The Vorians had come to conquer. The humans would teach them the meaning of regret. On Earth, Admiral Hyun watched the battle reports. The Indomitable was gone. Captain Minho was dead, but his sacrifice had bought them time. "Activate all defense platforms," she ordered. "Launch all fighters, every single one." Her aide hesitated. "Admiral, some of those pilots only finished training last week." "Then they will learn fast," Hyun said coldly. "The Vorians wanted a war. We will give them one they will never forget." In orbit, Lieutenant Woo-sung climbed into his fighter. The Pegasus was an experimental design, fast and maneuverable. It was also barely tested, but Woo-sung did not care. The enemy had killed Captain Minho. They had attacked his home. "All fighters, this is Woo-sung," he said over the comm. "Stay close. Watch each other's backs. And remember what we are fighting for." The fighters launched like a swarm of angry bees. Small, fast, deadly. Admiral Krell watched them come and felt something he had not felt in decades: fear. Far away on the Vorian homeworld, General Tarak received the first battle reports. He read them 3 times, hoping he had misunderstood. Then he sent an emergency message to Emperor Vexus. "Recall the fleet immediately. This is a mistake. The humans will never stop fighting." Emperor Vexus did not respond. The war had begun. The Vorian fleet reached Mars after 6 days of fighting through the asteroid belt. Admiral Krell had lost 47 ships. 47. No species had ever made the Vorians bleed this much for a single planet. But Mars was smaller than Earth, weaker. It would fall quickly. It did not. The human colonies on Mars fought with desperate fury. Commander Sung-ho's resistance network was already in place before the first Vorian soldier landed. The tunnels beneath the red surface became a maze of death for the invaders. Commander Grax led the occupation forces. He expected frightened civilians. Instead, he found fighters everywhere. Old people who should have been harmless carried weapons made from farming tools. Children too young for combat served as messengers, running through tunnels too small for Vorian soldiers to follow. Minji, the engineering student, had reprogrammed every mining drone on the planet. The machines that once dug for minerals now hunted Vorian patrols. They were not sophisticated, but they were relentless, just like their human creators. "They are all combatants," Grax reported to Admiral Krell in horror. "Every human fights, even the ones who should not be able to." An old woman named Borum had killed 3 Vorian soldiers with explosives made from fertilizer and household chemicals. When captured, she smiled at her interrogators. "My grandson was on the Indomitable," she said. "Captain Minho was his commander. You think I would not fight?" The Vorians could not understand. In their culture, soldiers fought. Civilians obeyed, but humans did not separate so easily. Every human was a potential warrior. Every home, a potential fortress. Admiral Krell left Mars under occupation and turned toward Earth's moon. Luna, the humans called it. One small moon with a garrison of a few thousand soldiers. It should have fallen in hours. Commander Jinwoo and his lunar garrison had other ideas. The Battle of Luna lasted 6 days. 6 days of continuous combat that should have been impossible. Vorian soldiers were tough and well-trained, but they had never faced anything like human defenders on their own ground. The moon's low gravity gave humans an impossible advantage. On Earth, they were strong. On Luna, they were superhuman. Commander Jinwoo could jump 50 meters in a single bound. His soldiers carried weapons that would normally need 3 people to operate, but it was the endurance that broke the Vorians. Human soldiers fought for 20 hours straight, took stimulants that would kill most species, and fought for 20 more hours. They did not seem to need sleep. They did not seem to feel pain. They just kept coming. A Vorian medic named Vorn captured a wounded human soldier to study. The soldier's name was Deho. He had a broken arm, 3 cracked ribs, and a concussion. He should have been unconscious. Instead, he was trying to escape. "How are you still moving?" Vorn asked in amazement. Deho grinned through bloody teeth. "Because my friends are still fighting. I am not going to let them down." Vorn contacted Dr. Nari, a human xenobiologist who had been cooperating with Vorian scientists. He needed to understand what he was seeing. Nari explained human biology in detail. She showed them scans of human anatomy, redundant organ systems, incredible healing capabilities, a brain that released natural combat drugs. "We call it adrenaline," Nari said. "When humans are threatened, our bodies flood with chemicals that make us stronger, faster, and more resistant to pain. We can function with injuries that would incapacitate your soldiers. We have backup systems for our backup systems." She pulled up evolutionary history. "Humans are pursuit predators. We evolved to chase prey for days without stopping. Our bodies are built for endurance beyond anything you have encountered. We sweat to cool ourselves. We have the most efficient cardiovascular system of any land predator on Earth. We are designed to never give up." The Vorian scientists listened in growing horror. "But the most dangerous thing about humans," Nari continued, "is not our bodies. It is our minds. We bond with each other in ways you do not understand. We call it love, pack bonding, friendship. We will die for each other, not because of orders or duty, but because we care." She showed footage of human soldiers, one man shielding another with his own body, a woman carrying a wounded comrade through enemy fire, a medic treating injuries while under attack, refusing to leave his patients. "You activated our instinct to protect the pack," Nari said quietly. "Every human on Earth, Mars, and Luna considers each other family now. You have united us. And now you will see what happens when you threaten a human's family." The Vorian scientists shared this information with their military. It spread through the fleet like a virus. Morale began to crack. On Luna, Commander Jinwoo's garrison finally ran out of ammunition. They had held for 6 days against overwhelming numbers. Now they switched to hand-to-hand combat. Vorian soldiers discovered that humans were even more terrifying up close. Jinwoo himself fought with nothing but a combat knife and his bare hands. He killed 7 Vorian soldiers before he was finally overwhelmed. As they restrained him, he was still laughing. "You think you won?" he said. "Look up." The Vorians looked. Earth's main defense fleet was launching. Hundreds of ships rising from hidden orbital platforms. The humans had been buying time. All of this had been a delaying action. Admiral Krell realized the trap too late. He tried to order a retreat, but a message interrupted him. General Tarek was taking command of the operation. The Emperor had finally authorized the experienced general to fix this disaster. Tarek's first order was a tactical withdrawal to regroup. They needed to reorganize, resupply, and reassess. Fighting humans required new strategies. But Earth's Admiral Hyun denied them the retreat. Her fleet moved to cut off their escape routes. "You came to our home," she broadcast across all channels. Her voice was cold and hard. "Now you are going to learn why that was a mistake." Her face appeared on every Vorian screen. Behind her, through the window, Earth was visible, beautiful and blue and green, and covering its surface, spreading across every continent, glowing in the darkness, cities, billions upon billions of lights. "How many?" General Tarak asked quietly. 8 billion on Earth, Admiral Hyun replied. She had heard the question on an open channel. "Another 2 billion in the rest of the system. And General Tarak, every single one of them knows you are here. Every single one of them is angry. Every single one of them is ready to fight. What you have seen so far. That was us being polite. Would you like to meet the other 8 billion? Tarak looked at the planet. 8 billion humans. 8 billion persistence predators who never surrendered. 8 billion beings who would chase their prey for days, for years, for generations if necessary. No, he said quietly. I would not. But the battle was already beginning. Admiral Hyun's fleet engaged the Vorian forces. Lieutenant Woo-sung and his fighter squadron dove into the combat like hawks. Human ships twisted and turned in ways that should have torn them apart. Inside, the crews endured forces that would have killed other species. The space around Luna became a storm of fire and metal. And General Tarak realized something terrible. The humans were not trying to destroy his fleet. They were trying to capture it. They wanted prisoners. They wanted intelligence. They wanted to learn how to build better weapons. They are thinking about the next war, he whispered, even while fighting this one. General Tarak took command of the Vorian forces from his flagship in orbit around Mars. He was not like Admiral Krell. He did not underestimate the enemy. He studied the patterns of human attacks and recognized something disturbing. The humans were stalling. They were buying time for something. But what? On Earth, Yoonji ran the intelligence division from a bunker deep underground. Her team had been interrogating Vorian prisoners for weeks, not with torture. The humans treated their prisoners well, gave them food and medical care. This confused the Vorians more than pain would have. "Why do you help us?" a Vorian prisoner asked. "We are your enemies." "Because that is who we are," Yoonji replied simply. "We fight hard, but we do not lose our humanity." Through careful questioning and observation, Yoonji's team learned everything about Vorian military systems, ship designs, communication protocols, command structures, and one critical weakness: their ships were all networked together. They share data in real time, Yoonji explained to Admiral Hyun. It makes them efficient, but if we can access that network, we can turn their strength into weakness, Hyun finished. She smiled. Do it. In orbit, Lieutenant Woo-sung prepared for another mission. His experimental fighter Pegasus had survived 5 major engagements. Most pilots did not last that long. His squadron had been reduced from 20 fighters to 7. "Command says this is the big one," his wingman Mina said over the comm. "Every mission is the big one," Woo-sung replied. "Stay sharp. Watch your corners." The human fighters launched from Earth. They were going up against the Vorian main fleet, outnumbered 10-1, outgunned by massive warships. But they had speed, maneuverability, and something the Vorians did not understand. They had accepted that they might die. Fear was useful, but it could also paralyze. Human pilots trained to acknowledge death and then ignore it. They flew into combat like it was already over, like they were already ghosts. It made them unpredictable and terrifyingly effective. While the fighters engaged, a small human stealth ship approached Tarak's flagship. Inside were 5 soldiers led by Ki-hoon, a special forces operative. Their mission was simple and impossible: infiltrate the flagship and plant Yoonji's virus. Ki-hoon's team used old-fashioned techniques, no advanced technology, just patience, observation, and human creativity. They attached their ship to the Vorian hull in a blind spot. They cut through with plasma torches. They moved through maintenance tunnels that Vorian security never monitored. "Humans are small," Ki-hoon whispered to his team. "We fit in places they do not think about." They reached a data junction deep in the ship. Ki-hoon plugged in the device Yoonji had designed. It was a virus, but not a destructive one. It simply unlocked targeting systems across the entire Vorian network. For 3 minutes, every Vorian ship would be unable to shoot at human vessels. They would only be able to target each other. The virus uploaded. Ki-hoon smiled. Package delivered. Time to leave. Getting out was harder. Alarms had been triggered. Vorian security forces were searching the ship. But Ki-hoon's team had planned for this. They split up, each taking a different route. Most would not make it back. They knew this. They went anyway. When the virus activated, Admiral Hyun saw her opportunity. For 3 minutes, the Vorian fleet was in chaos. Ships that tried to fire at humans accidentally locked onto their own allies. Confusion spread through their ranks. "All ships," Hyun ordered calmly, "full attack. Show them no mercy for the next 3 minutes. After that, standard engagement." The human fleet struck like a hammer. They focused fire on Vorian command ships, targeting bridges and communication arrays. They were not trying to destroy the fleet. They were trying to blind it. Wusung's fighter squadron dove through the chaos. Mina's ship took a hit and exploded. He did not have time to mourn. He just kept flying, kept shooting, kept fighting. That was what humans did. When the 3 minutes ended, General Tarek's flagship had lost all long-range communications. 17 ships had been destroyed by friendly fire. 20 more were damaged. The fleet was in disarray. Tarek made a decision that would define the rest of his life. He requested a ceasefire to discuss terms, not surrender. Discussion. Admiral Han considered refusing. Her fleet had momentum, but she also knew her own forces were exhausted. Pilots were flying on stimulants and willpower. Ships were damaged. Crews had been fighting for 4 weeks straight, 4 weeks of continuous combat. The Vorian soldiers could not understand how humans were still functioning. They needed sleep. They needed rest. But humans just kept going, rotating crews, treating wounded on the bridge, taking drugs that would permanently damage their bodies. "We will talk," Hyun agreed. "But General Tarek, if this is a trick, I will personally hunt you across the galaxy." The ceasefire negotiation happened via video link. Tarek saw Admiral Hyun for the first time. She looked tired, human tired, which meant she probably had not slept in days but was still sharp and focused. Behind her, through a window, Tarek could see Earth. The view took his breath away, not because of the planet's beauty, though it was beautiful, but because of what covered it. Lights, cities, civilization spreading across the continents like a glowing web. Billions of humans. Billions of potential soldiers. "How many?" Tarek asked, his voice barely a whisper. 8 billion on Earth alone," Hyun replied. 2 billion more scattered through the system. And General, every single one of them knows you are here. Every single child is being taught about this war. Every single person is angry." She leaned forward. "What you have fought so far is our military. Professional soldiers and volunteers. You have not met our civilians. You have not seen what happens when we mobilize our entire population. This," she gestured to the battle damage reports, "this is me being diplomatic. This is me showing restraint. Would you like to meet the other 8 billion? Tarek looked at his own casualty reports. 130 ships lost, thousands dead. The humans had superior technology in some areas, inferior in others. But they had something the Vorians could not match. They would never stop. "What are your terms?" he asked quietly. "Leave," Hyun said simply. "Leave our system. Never come back uninvited. And tell your emperor what you learned here." "He will call me a coward," Tarek said. "You are not a coward," Hyun replied. Her voice was softer now. "You are smart. You tried to warn them. We know. Commander Yuna told us about your speech to the High Command. You tried to save both our peoples from this." Tarek nodded slowly. He made his decision. Not for glory, not for the Emperor, but because it was right. "I accept your terms," he said. "I will withdraw all Vorian forces from the Sol system." Behind him, his officers gasped. Withdrawing without Imperial authorization was treason. Tarek did not care. "Tell your people something for me," Tarek said to Admiral Hyun. "Tell them that not all Vorians wanted this war. Tell them that some of us wanted to be your friends." Hyun smiled slightly. "I will tell them, General. And perhaps one day, we can be friends. But not today. Today, you need to leave our home." The Vorian fleet began its withdrawal. In the imperial capital, Emperor Vexus received the news in rage. He ordered Tarek's arrest for desertion. But the returning fleet officers refused to obey. They had seen what humans were. They would not fight that war again. The Empire stood at the edge of civil war, and a young human diplomat named Sunho prepared to travel to the Vorian homeworld with an unexpected message. Earth wanted peace, but on human terms. General Tarak stood in chains before the imperial court. Emperor Vexus sat on his throne, fury burning in his eyes. Around them, the High Command watched in silence. "You withdrew without authorization," the Emperor said coldly. "You abandoned the conquest. You are a traitor." "I saved the fleet," Tarak replied calmly, "and I saved the Empire from complete destruction." "Lies!" Admiral Krell shouted. He had survived the war, though barely. "We could have won!" "No," Tarak said firmly. "We could not. I tried to tell you before the invasion. I tried to warn you during the battle. Humans are not a species to conquer. They are a species to respect, to fear, and to befriend if we are wise enough." He looked around the chamber at the assembled officers. Many had served under him. Many had seen the war firsthand. "Every human is a potential soldier," Tarak continued. "Every human child trains to be stronger than their parents. Their entire civilization is built on one principle: never surrender. They would have fought us for generations. Even if we destroyed Earth, survivors would have hunted us across the stars. This is what persistence predators do. They never stop." Emperor Vexus stood. "Take him away. He will be executed at dawn." But the guards did not move. They looked at their fellow soldiers. They looked at Tarak, and they did not move. "I will not arrest the general," one guard said quietly. "He saved my life on the withdrawal. He is no traitor." More voices joined. Officers stood. Soldiers refused orders. For the first time in Vorian history, the military defied the Emperor. Civil war was only moments away. Then the doors opened. A small figure walked into the chamber flanked by 2 Vorian guards. Sunho was young for a diplomat, barely 30 years old. But he had volunteered to come to the Vorian homeworld alone to deliver Earth's message. "Emperor Vexus," Sunho said politely. "My name is Sunho. I represent the people of Earth. I have a message for you." The Emperor stared. "How dare you enter this chamber?" "Your own guards brought me," Sunho replied calmly. "General Tarak sent word that you needed to hear what Earth has to say, so here I am." He pulled out a data pad and projected a hologram. Images of Earth appeared. Cities rebuilding, ships under construction, and something new: massive defense stations being assembled in orbit. "This is what we have been building while you argued about General Tarak," Sunho explained. "We are not a species that waits for the next attack. We prepare. Those stations can destroy your entire remaining fleet. We also have discovered faster-than-light travel by reverse engineering your captured ships. Within a decade, we will have fleets that can reach your home world." The chamber fell silent. "But we do not want that," Sunho continued. His voice softened. "We did not want this war. You brought it to us. We defended our home. We won. Now we want peace." "Surrender?" Emperor Vexus asked with venom. "Alliance," Sunho corrected. "On equal terms. We share technology. You teach us FTL travel properly. We teach you medical advances, agricultural techniques, and how to survive on harsh worlds. We establish embassies. We trade. We become friends." "And if I refuse?" the Emperor asked. Sunho's expression did not change. "Then in 10 years, possibly 5, human fleets will arrive at your borders. We will not invade, we will not conquer, but we will surround you. We will cut off your expansion. We will make sure you never threaten another peaceful species. You will spend the rest of your civilization's existence looking over your shoulder, wondering when the humans will decide you are too dangerous to leave alone." He paused. Or you can be our friends. We are loyal to our friends. We fight for our friends. We die for our friends. The Vorian Empire could have that loyalty. General Tarak could have had that loyalty. He tried to warn you. He tried to save both our peoples. Now I am offering you the same choice. Peace or isolation. Choose. The Emperor looked at General Tarak, then at his officers, then at the young human standing fearlessly in his court. 3 months of negotiation followed. Sunho and General Tarak worked together to create what would be known as the Treaty of Terra. It established peace, trade agreements, and cultural exchange programs. Most importantly, it included one secret clause. If any other species threatened either party, they would defend each other. The galaxy's most powerful empire and its most stubborn species allied together. Commander Yuna attended the treaty signing. She had been released from prison weeks ago but chose to stay and help with negotiations. Afterward, she approached Tarak privately. "Thank you for trying to warn them," she said. "I have conquered 30 worlds," Tarak replied quietly. "But I have never encountered a species like yours. Tell me honestly, Commander, if we had continued fighting, would you have won?" Yuna considered the question carefully. Probably not. You would have destroyed Earth eventually. You had the numbers, the firepower. Tarak felt a moment of vindication until she continued. But you would not have destroyed humanity. We are everywhere in the solar system now. Hidden bases, generation ships already launched to other stars, colonies you never found. Every survivor would have spent their entire lives hunting you. Their children would have hunted you. Their grandchildren would have hunted you. We would have made it our species' purpose to ensure yours regretted ever hearing the word humanity. You would not have won. You just would have made us into something worse. Tarak believed every word. "I am glad we are friends now instead." "So am I," Yuna said with a genuine smile. Years passed. The treaty held strong. Human tourists visited Vorian worlds, fascinated by alien culture. Vorian scientists studied at human universities. Trade flourished. A Vorian soldier named Dongwu defected and applied for Earth citizenship, the first of many. Dr. Jisoo, a human historian, wrote a book about the war called The War Nobody Won. It became required reading in military academies across both civilizations. Young Vorian officers learned to respect humans. Young human officers learned that former enemies could become friends. But the most important change happened in the galaxy at large. Word spread about the species that made the Vorian Empire retreat. About the persistence predators from the Death World. About the humans who never surrendered. Slavers avoided ships flying Earth's flag. Pirates fled when they saw human vessels. Aggressive species reconsidered their expansion plans when they learned humans were nearby. And in the Galactic Council, which humanity now had a seat on, representatives spoke carefully when humans were in the room. A new saying spread across the stars. Do not start fights with persistent predators. They will not stop until they win or they are extinct. And they are very hard to make extinct. 5 years after the treaty signing, a new threat emerged from dark space. The Swarm, they were called. A hive-mind species that consumed everything in its path. Entire civilizations vanished as the Swarm advanced. The Galactic Council held an emergency session. Representatives panicked. Their fleets had failed to even slow the Swarm down. General Tarak stood and spoke. "I propose that humanity leads the defense against this threat." The chamber erupted in argument. Some species did not trust humans, others feared them. But Tarak continued. "They are crazy enough to fight impossible odds. They are stubborn enough to never give up. They are clever enough to win anyway. The Swarm is about to learn what the Vorian Empire learned. Never underestimate humanity." Admiral Hyun, now Earth's representative to the Council, stood. She had aged but remained strong. Her hair was gray now, but her eyes still held fire. "General Tarek warned his emperor to leave humanity alone," she said. "The emperor ignored that warning. I will give you all a warning now. We will stop this swarm, but you will not like our methods. Humans do not fight clean. We fight to win. We will use every advantage, every weapon, every tactic. Some of you will think we are monsters. Some of you will call us barbarians. But we will save you anyway because that is what we do for our friends." She looked around the chamber. Anyone who cannot accept that should leave now. Anyone who stays accepts that humanity will do whatever is necessary. Nobody left. The council voted. Humanity would lead the defense. Admiral Hyun began organizing the combined fleets. General Tarak volunteered to serve as her second-in-command. "Together?" he asked, offering his hand in the human custom. "Together?" Hyun agreed, shaking it firmly. The swarm was coming. It had destroyed dozens of species. It had never encountered humans before. It was about to learn why General Tarak had begged his emperor to leave humanity alone.